Hello, welcome to another video by the Time Squad Vloggers. Today we're looking at mine and Carl's video equipment. Okay, so the first one we're looking at is tripods. Now, you really want a very kind of robust, heavy-duty tripod. Usually get one that can go very tall. Low-down tripods aren't really necessary, because you can get like steady cams or small tripods, but I think the main point is that it can go very high, because there's always shots when we're thinking, oh, we need to get a higher shot than this, and we're regretting not having a tall tripod. This is an example of a bad tripod, like really, really bad. It's plastic when it's better to get a metal tripod, really, or carbon fibre. I mean, it's really cheap. I mean, you've got these little buttons here. You have to press down to like push it up instead of having clips, and clips are much more secure. It's not connected in between the legs, so that means you don't have an equal distance apart, so it won't be straight. It'll be like tilted, and it's not sturdy at all. It's just moving around everywhere. It's got a tiny tripod mount, which most cameras would just like completely fall off it. It would just fall over. I mean, you could get away maybe using the SD Panasonic range. They're really light cameras, but still, it's not exactly brilliant. Or you could use something more of this sort of size. Even though this hasn't got a tripod mount, it's mainly used to attach to helmets, etc. Also, what you can use mainly for photography, I wanted to suggest this for video, is this is a Gorilla tripod. And it only really works with digital cameras. You wouldn't use a DSLR on this. But like I said, I mean, you could get away with using Panasonic. I think we used it once, but that would be holding it like this. Because the idea of this is that it's meant to like wrap around stuff and like, you know, lean off walls and stuff. I would never trust a video camera on one of these. Not really. They're designed for compact digital cameras. Even this is the more heavy duty one. There's a really thin one I had, which I used with my flip camera, and it broke. So... Okay, so this is the tripod we're currently using. We have another one, but they're both just as heavy duty. As you can see, it's made of metal, not plastic, which is pretty much essential to all tripods. And also it uses clips to extend its legs, not like, you know, I don't even know what the other one, how you extend it. We've just always kind of had it out. It's really confusing. And then, obviously, it's got a little bit here, which you turn to extend it even higher, because it can go taller. But you can tell it's heavy duty because we've got a DSLR on top, which is heavy in itself, a microphone, and we have our Hague pan and tilt head. So, I mean, this is really heavy. This is heavy, and I'll demonstrate now, Carl. It's remote controlled, and then it's pretty much like if you were filming yourself, you could use the remote control, and it can just turn from left to right and up and down. Would you like to demonstrate, Carl? So that's how we got our panning shot earlier, and when you showed us all the gear, we used this. And you can change the speed of how fast it pans, which is pretty good. So you can make it go slowly, or you can make it go pretty fast. So yeah, both of those things put on top of the tripod is pretty heavy. You wouldn't be able to hold it, well, handheld it, and kind of like focus at the same time. So it's definitely a good tripod. Okay, so one of the key things with filmmaking is make sure you get your makeup right. We don't use it on our vlogs, and we don't really do the whole sort of makeup on the face and stuff, which you probably should do if you're doing, you will do if you're doing proper makeup on real filmmaking. But for like short films, the main thing we would use it for is for blood, like burn wounds, cut wounds, all that sort of stuff. You use sort of latex as well. This is just, you know, we just found the stuff. This is not really what we use, but yeah, food colouring and things. And there's loads of tutorials on the internet how to make good blood. I think the key thing is a lot of people just use like special effects blood, like sort of things, third-party plugins. You can go and third-party plugin explosions. Explosions, yeah, you can't do real ones really. But I think with blood, I think it looks better if you do a visual and a special effect. So I think you should have some fake blood. And if you don't do one of like explosions blood, you should have fake blood on the person. You know, like make fake blood, and then also have the visual effect, but yeah, the special effect. Otherwise, it kind of you can just tell when it's a special effect. It's so obvious. People on YouTube, like some of the top people, they use it, and it's just so obviously special effect. I think it's better if you use some real blood, but they do as well. You get people who have it like oozing out their mouth and stuff. Make sure it's edible. That's one of the key things, because then you can do some better stuff if it's edible. Otherwise, you're restricted really what you can do with blood. So yeah, one of the key things is makeup, and just make sure that you don't always use special effects because they do look pretty fake. Sequence 5, Scene 2, Angle 8, Take 4.
Calling. Quiet please. Rolling. Action.
Okay, so another well, it's not really a key thing, but it's a good thing to have, especially when you're doing short films, is a clapperboard. You wouldn't really use this in vlogs, well, there'd be no need for it in vlogs at all, really, because it's usually just one-to-one. But in short films, this is key, especially when it comes back to editing. This is more professional stuff, you wouldn't really use this that much in amateur, but it's still useful. We haven't got a proper clapperboard yet. We want to get an acrylic one when you can write on with pens, not this thing. But the key thing is, what you need it for is because when it comes back to editing, you need to know exactly what take you're using, because they're usually on set, they will decide what take they think is the best, and then the editor kind of just picks it out from that. You skim through, you see your takes, you see your sequences, what scene you're in, and it gives you all the information, who was on set at the time, which producer was on set, director, all that sort of stuff. It says camera person. This is not right. I mean, this is crap. This is not what it would say on a proper clapperboard. But you can also get digital clapperboards as well, which have numbers, and they usually have the time. You write on the time and date exactly what time in the day this was shot on, and when it ends as well, at the end of the video, they write on how long that shot lasted for, and then they clap that at the end of the video as well. So maybe if you're looking to go into decent short films, you want to use a clapperboard. Vlogs and YouTube, not really necessary unless you're doing proper YouTube, people in America they have the much higher people with the million subscribers. When they do their big videos, with Totally Sketching people, they use proper clapperboards and stuff and have a proper set. Okay, so this is our portable green screen. We have 2 of these. It's basically a big sheet that unfolds. Now the key thing with green screens is that you don't really want to get creases in them, which is why it's so much better. Proper professionals, they do use cloths, but there's proper thin nylon pulled really taut. Or another great thing is to paint an entire wall green, and make sure the paint is flawless, because if you have creases, you get shadows, and shadows is a nightmare for green screens. You don't want shadows, it completely wrecks all the colouring, and it starts to crackle at the edges or around your subject when you're chroma keying or masking, whatever. So the key thing, I mean, most softwares can't do green screen. I don't think Windows Movie Maker can do green screen, so for basic vloggers, iMovie does, but it's not really good. But the best way to do green screen is if you do a mask and then use chroma key, and it's not. Yeah, basically the easiest way to do green screen would not be to use one of these, but we haven't got a wall to paint. I think Joe said he has a board, green screen board, but I don't know what he's using when his, because he gets quite a lot of crackles around him. So I don't know if he's masking it. Maybe he is. I don't know what software Joe uses to edit his videos. I'm not being mean to Joe, but I'm not trying to single them out. So yeah, that's green screens, and they're super useful. But what a lot of professional editors have as well is blue screens when you need someone who's wearing green, because we've had this before with the sonic screwdriver, the new one. And we had this original scene in our World War II episode. When I was in a white I was in a white sort of area, it was a parallel universe thing, and I did my sonic screwdriver, and the tip was white, because it's green, so that's why they have blue screens, because a lot of people are what's the point of having a blue screen? And yeah, blue screens can work depending as well, if you want to get a certain setting, it works better with having a blue screen than a green screen.